God had already revealed to me before the retreat that in different ways that my gift was prophecy, but I didn't understand it. Not that I didn't understand how to prophesy or what a prophet was, because before the retreat at a base level I thought I did, where God tells me something and I tell it back to that person. But prior to, I would be like, I believe God is saying, I believe God is saying, I think the Lord is telling me, because I felt like there was so much weight that was held in and giving someone a word. Like, it kind of reminds me of why I didn't at one point I wanted to become a doctor, but then when I gave myself a reason to convince myself out of it, I was like, oh no, like, I'm responsible for lives and I don't want that. And that's how I feel with being a prophet. It's not that I don't want it, that's not the case, but I just realized that my words can pierce people's lives, and that is a big responsibility. So I never want to move in the wrong way, because that's a lot to know that if I say God said quit your job and then they quit their job, now I just changed that person's entire life. So I always start with I believe God is saying. But what I was saying to another lady was that there hasn't been a time that I said something that God was saying that I believe that he was saying that was wrong, ever. So I felt like it was more so doubt. But during one of the sessions, just through different women pouring into me, and even now, Erica included, it was brought to my attention that there was so much more than what I saw a prophet as. And she was telling me, one of the women was telling me, highly qualified woman to be telling me, I mean, everyone was qualified, but I'm saying, like, it was sound words, you know. And we got prayer for home, like strengthening the gift of a prophet, and she was telling me that my gift was actually very mature. And I was like, well, that's interesting, because I haven't been prophesying for long. She said, but that's not the case, where prophecy shows up, I guess, in different avenues. And she was like, your gift comes in knowledge. What did you do? Like the word of knowledge, and you said wisdom, but she also said discernment. And immediately when she said that, it brought me back to you, because you know, you tell me often, I remember even as a kid, y'all would say that I was wise. That I was wise. And even now, people tell me that I'm wise, but I also know in my adult life, I always pray for wisdom and for discernment. Like, I'm like, because that's in the Bible. I don't know where it is, but it was saying, like, that's the best thing that you can have. And I was like, well, then give me that. Like, if that's what I'm supposed to be going for, then let me go for that. So I always pray, God, make me wise. And then more recently, when I feel like I be getting tricked out of stuff, I'm like, okay, give me some discernment too. And I feel like I have, but I need it more, because I also, that's separate. But I just feel like with trust, you need discernment. And I think that'll help me as I move forward in life. But she was saying that my prophecy was through word of knowledge. And she was like, you know, with advice and with helping people out and with just saying sound things. And I've just seen it with you talking to this person and that person. And then it hit me that that was very true, because I'm always giving advice. And I always try my best to give sound advice. And especially with my friends, when I know it's something big or something that could put them off course, I'm like, let me tell you what God says about that, because I'm not about to be responsible for your life getting off track. Like with an outfit, you know, if I think purple is better looking, then I will go with purple. But with something that I want to go do this, I want to go do that. For those that believe, I be like, you need to pray. For those that even don't, I'm like, this is what God says. I teach you. Let me tell you what the word says about that, because it won't be me. And I find myself doing that a lot and just giving my advice based off of what I know. So I was saying that I didn't know that before the retreat. And I guess that was a long way of saying that it kind of taught me how to hone in on my gifts, but also it gave me such immediate power, because I'm like, if you're saying I've been doing this, then I didn't know, because I thought there were people prophesying throughout the entire retreat, and I never put myself at, I was laughing because I'm very confident, but still, like, I never put myself at a lesser point than a person. But I have respect, and I understand when it's time for me to be quiet and to let other people talk, put that to the side. So there were two other people who were prophesying. I was like, Lord, you got it. Like, let me be quiet. Let me learn. Let me take something away from this. But then God started talking to me. And that's what was hard for me to talk in the beginning, because I was just coming from a place of trying to learn, to be respectful, and to take part of what was going into the room. But I didn't know that God was going to actively use me in the room. And then not even to then tell me about myself, but to use me to speak to several people in the room. My mind was blown while I was even speaking, because I'm like, God, I didn't know you would do this, because I came just to help out. I came to complain about washing dishes and to serve food, or, you know, but the earlier that day, I'm like, let me take your bag upstairs. Let me get your bag. Like, I truly came with the mindset of a lowly servant, not in any way disrespectful for myself, but I wanted to make sure that I understood my role going into the retreat. So it's like, one of the questions that I was asking people during the videos is, what did you expect from the retreat? But I didn't know what to expect because I didn't feel like the retreat was for me until you were talking and you were like, God said that this is for all 16 of you. And I was in the kitchen making dinner and I'm like, hold on, let me do this math. 16, that's me included. Because the whole time throughout the retreat, I kept saying, if you don't got a folder, give mine away. If you need a crochet hook, give mine away. If you need yarn, give mine away. Like, it's cool because I'm here just to help. It doesn't matter. I don't need this. I don't need the basket. I don't need that. It was points where I didn't feel like going through. So I'm like, nah, just count me out. Like, just give my stuff away. And in that moment of all the things, like when you was talking, some stuff I did not hear, but my ears heard that. And I was like, oh, snap. Like, God made me here for a reason. And then I think that the retreat to me also gave a different meaning to the word everybody, because when I felt the atmosphere and understood, not that I ever doubted, but when I understood and could clearly see that God was moving, whenever something was for everybody, I didn't want to be left out of it, because I'm like, everybody means me. And I feel like you hear everybody a lot in school settings where there's a classroom of 300 people and they're like, these notes are for everybody. I'm like, okay, no, they're not. Where to me, sometimes I've learned that I could be dismissive of the term everybody because everybody is so many. But today, not even today, yesterday, all days, in the midst of everybody, I still knew that God was still talking to me. And it hit me on the couch and I was like, everybody is still me. And everybody is not just, it's not a y'all, it's not a them, it's not a they, it's you included. And that gave new definition to me for everyone. I understood that meant everybody, comma, you included. And for me, that was big. And there was a lot of things that I broke where I be feeling stuff. I mean, everyone feels stuff, but you know how like you take a nap and then you wake up and never realize how tired you were. And I think that's what happened here, where like I felt okay and I was trying. I was doing a lot of trying. And there was stuff that I just felt like I couldn't tackle on my own. I was waiting for God to do it, and I just been trying to stay faithful. And another thing happened where someone was like, you're going to get everything you came for. And I remember sitting on the couch thinking, I was like, that is great. Like, there wasn't an ill feeling in my heart towards that. But I felt like, once again, that was great for everyone, excluding me, because I didn't know what I came for, because I came to help. So I'm like, what am I going to get? Like, okay. So then now I'm like, okay, well, God is here. So let me get a list together of what I need. Like, okay, like, God, I want to be healed for the veins in my stomach. I want to be healed for this, fibroid on my uterus. I keep getting these intrusive thoughts about me somehow having cancer and other diseases at some point in my life. And I'm like, Lord, I don't want that. And I've been saying, like, I'm not going to get cancer. I'm not going to get this. I'm not going to get that. And it felt like it was enough, but I felt like the enemy was tricking me. Like, how do I know that I really believe it? So when it came time to call for healing, I'm like, give me that. And then it was something where we prayed over. Am I allowed to say what we did?
Talk your experience.
Oh, okay. Then there was something where we prayed against the spirit of shame and regret. And it was where I've been trying to shake it and work hard to walk in the truth of motherhood and who I am as a new mother, but it still was just looming over my head like a little cloud. And I was like, I don't want that. Like, it was stuff where I'm like, okay, if I'm included in this everybody, then it's a way that I want to leave, and I have a standard for that. And now that I understand that I can feel the things that are going on in me because that tiredness was shown to me, I'm not leaving the way I came. So I'm like, it's never too late. It wasn't, day one had passed me by where it was a lot of pouring out, and that was great too, because it was still shocking me and I was learning. But on day two, I'm like, all right, if y'all said we're going to get what we came for, let me go ahead and get in line. So I started just throwing stuff out there. Like, I felt like the way I was on, like, even when I sat up, did it because I had fellas, either way, when I sat up and just claimed freedom from all those things and breaking covenants and call those things on me, while I was doing it, I could visually see, and I was asleep a little bit before it happened. So when I woke up, I could see like a pit of fire around the living room. And I knew that before you closed out, that I had to stop you. And I was trying so hard not to interrupt you, but I knew that I had to get that stuff thrown into the pit of fire because I did not want it anymore. And I knew I had to get it off of me. And that was the time. And I won't let this moment pass me by. I won't let this atmosphere pass me by, because I even felt like the enemy was trying to trick me. You could just get prayer at home. And it's like, nothing I'm saying is biased, but in full transparency, of course, I live with you. So I'm thinking, like, in the beginning, if I don't have a paper, she could print it off for me home. If I don't have this, I could ask her to share me the doc. But it was like, that's not it. Like, it's bigger than that. And what we did, people was doing jokingly, but if there was family member there, we weren't calling our people by their family names. But I knew that I was there on behalf of me. And I couldn't guarantee that I would get the same atmosphere that was here at home. So I had to get it here and now. So I got my prayer and I got my deliverance from shame. And I got my deliverance from the spirit of regret. No, from the spirit of shame and from regret. And I got my deliverance over anything that could even try to enter my body that wasn't from God. All healing was taking place for me. And I knew that I had to grab it, and I did. So since I'm the one asking interview questions, how am I from the start of the retreat to the end of the retreat? I was transformed, but also activated. And another word, I guess, would be accelerate, which was spoken like, it was like, I understand how big my role is. Even when it comes to the prophetic gift that I now understand more, God showed me the night before last that I'm going to be fisher of men. And it's just like, I've also been promoted apparently at the retreat, where I can't afford to take anything lightly, because God has entrusted me with so much, where now it's become more apparent that my life is bigger than me. So I would tell someone who thought this retreat wasn't for them that instead they actually needed to come to the retreat. Like, that was the very thing that they need to do.